So, a few weeks ago we got this tweet from the Fun Pimps explaining that version 3.0 had been renamed to the Sandbox Siege. They explained that it would add 100 new gameplay simulation options as well as several highly requested features and other surprises. Now you'll note that that is different from what we originally heard about 3.0 a few years ago. 3.0 was originally going to be a new threat update, featuring the main menu overhaul, a new quest type, and of course, Bandits. It was also supposed to come out Q2 2025.
You big stupid
Development Studio. Here we are at the end of Q1 2026 and still no Bandits. And a lot of people have concerns that 3.0 is yet another instance of TFP delaying Bandits till the next update, which is something they've apparently been doing for about 8 years. I can certainly say definitely since I returned in Alpha 19 they have been doing this, which was 5 years ago. Now on Twitter someone did ask, are the Bandits a reality in the next year or so, you think? And the Fun Pimps responded, this year for sure. Okay, so interesting. If we take them at their word, and we might be a little bit stupid if we do because this has been apparently 8 years of this, but let's be generous here, that isn't confirmation for 3.0 only this year. And certainly that was something my comments noticed in the last video as well, with some people saying that they're not even going to come back until Bandits are added. And of course, to add balance to that, there are a lot of people who just don't want Bandits anyway, but there's probably going to be a toggle for it, so you'll probably be okay. Now then, here's where I'm a little worried for 3.0 Bandits. On the forums, a moderator said that it doesn't mean that 3.0 will only have the sandbox options. There were other changes promised after the shitstorm. That's the unofficial name for update 2.0, by the way. Some of them will likely be in 3.0 as well. Just as a side note, Meganoth is a mod. He's not a dev, at least as far as I know, so this is mostly his interpretation or opinion on some previous context. This is just important for a later confirmation. He continues, as far as I know, before the number change, a 2.7 was already planned that would have no Bandits. Now, 3.0 is the old 2.7 and both would have been likely released at the same time, just the number is different. Now to me, that sounds like 3.0 isn't the Bandit update, it's just what 2.7 would have been, but they've called it 3.0 to make it a major update. Now to add to that, Fatal, who actually is a developer, replied to this saying, correct, there are other features planned for 3.0. We are not planning a 2.7 as this is now called 3.0 and there should be a 3.1 plus. And there should also be 4.0 and 4.1 onwards this year as 4.0 is already in development. I don't know guys, that sounds as if Bandits are going to be a 4.0 thing, and maybe the story's going to be a 5.0 thing, and 3.0 is just whatever they would have previously called this minor update in 2.7. And they probably weren't going to drop Bandits in a minor update like 2.7, were they? So if 3.0 is just 2.7 with a new name, it looks as if 7 Days to Die's next major update is not the one with Bandits, but we should at least expect them this year. That said, I'm changing my bet. I do think GTA 6 will come before Bandits and 7 Days to Die now. Anyway, jokes aside, I want to remind you that I am not an insider and I may have simply misinterpreted an exchange that was never intended to be scrutinized to this level, so don't go burning down any villages over one person's interpretation of 2 messages on a forum board and a tweet. I can say though that I said this in the forums last week. 3.0 not having Bandits is going to be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of players, even if it ends up being the most beautiful 10 out of 10 gaming experience ever made. Genuinely, were I in TFP's position, I'd just put all the Sandbox Siege features in like a 2.9 just to avoid breaking the expectation that 3.0 is the Bandit update. I know a fair swath of the community probably wouldn't care, but I feel like a Bandit-less 3.0 is going to be a point of contention that might genuinely sour an otherwise perfectly good update, and I would hate for 3.0 to be 2.0 2.0 just because of a naming version technicality. And indeed, I see a version of events in which people haven't been playing the game for a few months, they hear, oh, 3.0 just came out for 7 Days to Die, they go on and there's no Bandits still, and I feel like that's the kind of thing that's gonna spike a negative review thing again. And from reading my comments on my video I made about the toggle sneak peek, it seems like that is gonna be the way it goes. And certainly for about a week, nobody has corrected that assumption I made on 3.0 not having Bandits at least. Again though, that's hardly official confirmation of anything. I'm mostly just making this video as kind of like an expectation dampener on the Fun Pimp's behalf, because they quite frankly never know how to manage community expectations and trust. I think changing 2.7 to 3.0 and then changing the name of 3.0 to 4.0 is a terrible idea for community trust. Something that is already massively damaged with the Fun Pimps. And you're relying on the good faith of a community that is absolutely not in the fucking mood to let this slide again. And indeed, even just from the perspective of people who aren't active members of the community right now, who are going to be checking in with 7 Days to Die in 6 months and see, oh, 3.0 is out, that's when the bandits were going to be in it. And then they play the game, there's no bandits. What do you think they're going to do when that happens? That's just how I'm feeling as reading the room of the 7 Days to Die community. Obviously, 7 Days to Die is my job, and I sit and read thousands of comments every week talking about how people feel about this game and their expectations and stuff. And obviously there are elements of like, my community is going to be more generally negative because I'm more negative, but I don't just read my own comments. I go through lots of different places and find what people are thinking about 7 Days to Die so that I can keep a good idea of what the community is actually thinking to make these videos better. But regardless, do I think they're going to go back on that even with my suggestion? Probably not. They're kind of fucked either way now that they've announced 3.0 as the Sandbox Siege update and left room for speculation for Bandits. The expectations have been set. If people expect 3.0 to be this and to have Bandits, they're probably going to be disappointed. And now that that expectation has been set, it's going to be near impossible to divide those again. Because say they put 2.7 out and it has all the 3.0 update stuff in it, people are going to be like, oh well, we were supposed to get this with Bandits. Evidently they've delayed Bandits and that's why they've split it. And it's just like, we've created expectations through, I would say, poor communication that can't be undone on a large community scale like that. You just can't take these things back. You can't say that 3.0 is going to be this, then a couple of years later say 3.0 is going to be this, and have people not conflate the two things as going to have both. The Fun Pimps would probably just be like, well, people need to manage their expectations, but I think the Fun Pimps, after, 13 years of developing this game, need to manage their expectations of the community. You cannot get like 1 million people to manage their expectations, but you could communicate more effectively and not make this decision where you've decided to delay Bandits in name only. Like, Bandits aren't coming any later, but they are delayed in name. It's going to feel... I punched my microphone. It's going to feel like Bandits have been delayed because you said 3.0 was the Bandit update. And genuinely, nobody in the 7 Days to Die community has the level of like connection with the community to be able to sever that expectation now. It doesn't matter. You could get anyone. You could get every 7 Days to Die creator to clarify this, and half the community would still miss it because plenty of them just don't watch YouTube and plenty of them aren't engaged with 7 Days to Die right now because they're waiting for the new update. You can't set the expectations of people who have basically forgotten your game and are going to check in a few months. That's where this is all going to go wrong, I think. Because you just can't get 1 million people to manage their expectations like that. You can. So you have to be very, very deliberate in making sure you set those expectations and don't break them, because you can't communicate with the 1 million people who don't really engage with the community constantly the way that a lot of us do. And I think this all kind of sucks, because the Sandbox Siege update looks like it's going to be absolutely amazing because it's going to have so many things the community has asked for. But I think the part of the 7 Days to Die community who is not currently active and is not going to be able to have their expectations set are going to have their blood absolutely boiled by coming onto 7 Days to Die's updates, seeing 3.0 out, playing the game and being like, where are the bandits? That's not a good recipe for good responses to 3.0, but that's just how it is sometimes. Anyway, if you want to see me go more in depth on that Sandbox Siege update, here is the original video where I really get into that. Subscribe if you want more 7 Days to Die content. I have some pretty big things planned in the next couple of months, so don't miss out on that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.